What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. This is Seven here with the winter meetings in an impromptu episode, a little earlier than we normally do. Stefan is currently celebrating the wedding of his daughter, and we wish them both, or we wish them well, and hope he enjoys that time with his family. Family is an important thing to us. And then also, Craig is currently out, unfortunately, with COVID. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he and his wife are both dealing with it, even though they are both fully vaccinated. And so we are sending them our well wishes as well. So, in light of those things, along with the fact that the NBA Eastern Conference has their game seven tonight between the Celtics and the Heat, and I definitely kind of want to take that in. I made the decision to go ahead and go live a little early tonight. We're going to do a shorter episode. I'm just going to run through some things, hotter topics in the week of baseball, a couple of other things that I have noticed through the week, and talk a little bit of baseball. Sorry that the shadowing is a little different. My face might look a little funny. Unfortunately, my regular light broke, and I did not get a chance to fix it before I started today. So, my apologies for that if I look a little weird. First thing I wanted to talk about, it was big news broke. I believe it was Saturday. Uh, News broke on Saturday that Tommy Pham of the Cincinnati Reds was suspended for 3 games, retroactive to Friday, for slapping Jock Peterson of the San Francisco Giants during batting practice on Friday over a comment that was made about fantasy football. And it was in comment to one of the 49ers running backs. And apparently, Tommy Pham felt like it was too far or whatever. League fined Pham an undisclosed amount and suspended him for the 3 days, basically just through the rest of the series with the Giants, which concludes today. I believe they're playing right now. Is fantasy football that serious? I don't. I try to play every year. I don't always make it. I didn't play this last year, but I got kind of easily distracted. Um, Year before I did, I did play. I'm playing fantasy baseball this year. Not doing very well, mind you. But might look a little better if Chris Sale comes back because I grabbed him and he's sitting on my injured list uh, until he comes back and hopefully he can make a turnaround. Pitching has been a weak point for the Red Sox, so I think that not only do I want him to come back for my fantasy team, but also because Boston could use the arm. And but if you really think fantasy sports are that important, sports betting is that important, that you got to get violent over it, maybe you shouldn't. Um, maybe you should step away at least. My son is a gamer, much like myself. I talk about stuff that I do on parenting, my podcast, First Generation Dad, which is getting ready to come back for its third season. You can catch current episodes on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. I'm going to be getting that moved on to some more platforms like iHeartRadio before the start of before the start of the third season, which will start on Father's Day, and that is co-hosted with my buddy Will Morgan. Will is the host of the Sports Report, which I do on Mondays, and that's where I talk more baseball. You can always check that out 10 Eastern Monday nights. Um, and I talk about with my parenting, though, back on topic, I talk about the importance of recognizing things that are not good for your mental health. Um, my son was not allowed to play Fortnite for a few years. It was one of the earlier games that he got into. He had a lot of fun because he loves the building. I've watched that kid spend far more time than he should in Minecraft just building stuff. He just absolutely loves it. And it's how he expresses his creativity. And he's very, very good at those style of games. He plays a lot of Ark Survival. He loves it. And you know what? That's great because it's a creative thing. It's not just bang bang, move forward. And he's pretty good at it. I don't bias, but I mean, he kicked my ass in those games. Don't ever tell him I said that though. But he was he just recently started being allowed to play Fortnite again. But when he originally started playing it back when Fortnite was in its infancy on console, um, he would get very, very angry sometimes. Broke some controllers, was throwing a lot of temper tantrums, and so my wife and I recognized that it was not a healthy thing for him. He had to take a break from gaming as a whole for a while. When he got back, he wasn't allowed to play Fortnite because that seemed to be what was triggering it. And so we wanted to see, as we let him back into it, if it was just Fortnite or if it was gaming in general. And without Fortnite, he was fine. And he's got it back now. I mean, it was literally few years that he wasn't allowed to play that game. And he's just now being able to get back into it, and he's handling himself. He's a lot more mature now. He's a few years older, and it's not a problem. But he didn't like it at first, but slowly he understood the reason why we had to pull that away from him. He wasn't responding to it in a healthy form. And now I don't know what Jock said that got Tommy mad enough that he slapped him. And I would hope that it wasn't anything that could be considered discriminatory in any sense, because that's certainly not okay for any reason. But as long as it's not that, Tommy is a professional, especially even a batting practice. There's still eyes. Tommy's been in the league for a few years, so that sets an impression with some of those young guys too. And I find it disappointing that was his reaction. And in the suspension and the fine is more just like, hey, you need to sit down, calm down. Like 3 games in an entire season for an infield player that plays basically every day anyway. It's just time for him to cool off and calm down. But if something makes you that, if a game, something with no real world consequences, gets you that infuriated that you get violent, maybe you should step away from it for a little while and then work on that, because just as much as other people don't deserve that negative energy and that negative outburst, you don't deserve that mental and that mental pain of feeling like that. I used to struggle with my anger all the time. I admit it. And when you get done with those angry outbursts, you look back, you're just like, oh, what the hell was I doing? And I'm sure at some point he said that, not just because it cost him playing time and money, but he's realized that there's consequences for those actions. And so for him, it's just like, you got to do better, man. Like in Jock Peterson. What the hell is with that name? You're not a GTA character. That's weird. Okay. Next thing I wanted to talk about. Major League Baseball shared a graphic this morning before the Red Sox game started. Rafael Devers in the month of May is hitting .393 with 12 doubles, 7 home runs, 16 RBIs, and an OPS of 1.149. Since May 1st. Now, over the season, I wanted to pull up the stats because I wanted to see where he is, because that's an interesting number. But we're 2 months into the season. We're over the quarter mark. We're over 40 games. So what's he been doing for the year? Well, Rafi has actually the most at-bats of any Red Sox player, and over the season is hitting .345, and that is second on the team only because JD Martinez is hitting at .379, which is second in all of Major League Baseball, behind only Oscar Gonzalez of the Guardians. And that is absolutely ridiculous. The first 4 batters in Boston's, because the other one being Xander Bogaerts, of the first 4 batters in Boston's lineup, Kike Hernandez is the only one that is hitting below 300. And Kike is actually moving back in the right direction with his batting average. He's only hitting 205 right now, but he's moving back in the right direction. He's been doing really well over the last couple of weeks. The last couple of weeks have been great to Boston as a whole. They are 7-3 over their last 10 because they did split the doubleheader yesterday with Baltimore. But Nathan Eovaldi, sorry if you hear my kid screaming in the background as I tried to act like he's not going crazy over gaining anymore. He's just playing with his friends and being a 12-year-old kid. Over these last couple of weeks, Boston's, right now they're 7-3 over the last 10 because they split that doubleheader yesterday. They're hitting a lot. Today was absolutely a fantastic game for Boston. Like I said at the top of the show, their pitching is still their weak point. Eovaldi threw a complete game yesterday. First time in his career. It was great. Nick Pivetta had some strong outings today, or had a strong outing today. His last one was really well. He's only walked like 4 or 5 batters in his last 32 innings. But you also see last night, the game that the Red Sox lost against the Orioles was a bullpen game. And they managed to blow an 8-2 lead in the first, I believe it was the first game against the Orioles for this 5-game series. That's why tomorrow's game is to decide because, they're 2-2 right now in this 5-game series. Garrett Whitlock threw a gem. It was an 8-2 when he left after 6. And Boston blew the game because the bullpen just could not go. Just couldn't. And, of course, I understand that all of these guys that are Major League Baseball players are far better than I could ever be. But for professional standards, it was not good. But when you look at the results that you see from Rafi, Xander is playing very well as well. Very, very well in addition, these are the 2 players that Boston needs to pay. We expected contracts for both of these guys before the start of the season. It didn't happen. And now we're looking at the possibility of them ending up getting traded or losing them in free agency, and not getting very much for the quality of play that we're losing in return. Boston needs to just pay these guys. And I hope it happens because otherwise it's going to be very, very hard to make waves unless you can find a way to scramble and replace with like talent, which Xander and Rafi are very unique talents in baseball. So it's going to be hard to replace. So I hope that for Boston's sake, they just pay him. Really, they just need to pay him. It's mind-boggling that it hasn't already happened. But hopefully with the results that they're putting forward this year, things stay consistent. And, hopefully for them, maybe they make some more money. I think that would be fantastic for them. I'm all for players getting paid what they deserve. The money's there. It's a professional sport. They'll be fine. They can pay them. And then I was looking through – one of the other things I want to talk about is I was looking at stats and just information to see what I wanted to talk about in our quick chat today. I was looking at league leaders for some of the different stats right now. And I know it has some notable stuff. At the beginning of the season, we talked about this, me and Craig and Stefan, I know, has chimed in on this as well, that the Dodgers are one of the, the Dodgers are on roster the best team in baseball right now. I understand that the Yankees have one of the best records. I don't think the Dodgers have that slot, but skill-wise, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball right now. And as I was looking, I thought it was interesting for pitching leaders in all of Major League Baseball. Walker Buehler is tied with Justin Verlander for first for wins at 6 apiece. And then we move over to home runs. Aaron Judge, we all know Judge is on fire right now with the Yankees, even though the Yankees are starting to hit kind of an inconsistency. We'll see if the greatness that they've had as one of the best records in baseball holds true. But second behind that, 4 behind, Mookie Betts has hit 14. I know they're playing in Arizona right now, and he has yet to get his back going today, but I would not be surprised to see that number tick up over the next couple of days and gain some ground with Aaron Judge. Jose Ramirez of the Guardians, who is, doing very, very well this season at bat, is leading the league with 48 RBIs. And down at fourth with 38, so only 10 behind him, is Trey Turner of the Dodgers. Another reason why you can see they're putting up amazing numbers is we look at some of the stats that you can see, even if you're looking off of the league leaders on ESPN's website. We're seeing some consistencies here in what we've been talking about with different things. Rafi Devers, the Red Sox, has the most hits in baseball right now, 70 over the season. And JD Martinez is also on that list at fifth. And then when we look at stolen bases, Trey Turner of the Dodgers has 10. He's fifth in the league. Julio Rodriguez has the most of the Mariners, has the most at 14. And and then also something else that's interesting, San Diego, who hasn't been able to do much on the offensive side of the ball, but is definitely doing better pitching wise. Two of the top 5 pitchers for quality starts are San Diego pitchers. At Joe Musgrove, who is first with 9, and then Yu Darvish is tied with Martin Perez for fourth at 7 quality starts so far this season. So many of these teams are just putting up stellar numbers. I love to see it. I love to see good baseball, and I hope that it continues because baseball needs every amount of good performance it can get. You can't have bad stuff right now. Baseball can't afford it. There is such a thing as bad press right now for baseball. And I think that the more that they can do to maintain a good look, the better it will be in the long run. We are starting to see some younger viewers creep in. Those numbers are creeping up this season already, which I think is a good thing. And I think that it's going to continue to go up. But younger viewers don't want to be bothered with a lot of, wasted time and lack of energy, especially when it comes to something like a sport. Because the sports that the younger viewers have gravitated to in football and basketball are much more high energy. And so it's important for the league to make sure that when they're bringing these viewers in, they're not pushing them away with anything. That could be, a bad look on baseball. Some might argue Gabe Kepler's announcement that he's not going to be coming out onto the field during the national anthem until see some change because of you've seen a lot of mass shootings in this country, in the United States this year. And, and also Kepler did announce that for Memorial Day, he was going to suspend his protests, which I think is great because that is in respect to the troops that he's doing that. And it's not hard to figure out that the protest is not in any way disrespectful to the troops. And he's even taking it a step further by just not being on the field while it's going. He's not kneeling. He's not distracting. He's not out there. And yes, that's noticeable, but it's a peaceful protest. Whether you agree with it or not, it's constitutionally protected. And as a professional athlete, the way that he can protest in a peaceful way with the most impact is at work. We don't all have that luxury. I get that. But whether you agree with what he's doing or not, his rights are protected. And if you really want to stop the protest, listen, advocate for change. So often people spend so much time criticizing protesters that they're not willing to sit at the table with them and try to work on compromise. There's so much bickering back and forth that nothing gets accomplished. When we saw the Black Lives Matter protests the last few years, the cities that started to see progress in relationship with police and community were the ones that sat down with activists that were prominent in the community and listened and looked at processes to see what things could be made better. Doesn't mean that you have to admit you're wrong, But if you go into something with how you can be better, how can we make the world better, you're going to get somewhere. And Gabe Kepler, who is leading a very talented San Francisco Giants team, wants things to be better. I'm not smart enough to know what that is. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot that's going on. And my wife and I have had to feel very thankful that our son has been at homeschool this year, because a lot of schools have a lot of security now, and these things are still happening. So something needs to change. I don't know what that means, but Gabe is advocating for change and safety for our kids. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you disagree with that, I don't know what to tell you. Before I wrap this up tonight, this afternoon, sorry, I'm so used to it being evening when I do this, forgive me. I did want to share something very special. I know I mentioned at the top of the show that my podcast, my first ever podcast that I did, that's the longest running thing I've done, First Generation Dad, is going to be coming back for its third season starting on Father's Day. And with that, I've actually started a partnership with a company called Gunslinger Soaps. Get this back in the thing. This is all handmade soap, great for your body, no bad chemicals. I've actually been using this stuff for years. I personally know the guy that runs the company and makes all of the soap. Very talented musician, great in his community, does a lot of charity shows, and is also a firefighter. So it's a very easy thing to support. I actually don't make any money off of this, but I'm going to be featuring soaps like this. Is active charcoal based bar soap, very reasonably priced as well for what you're getting. You can check out their website, gunslingersoap.com. They have soaps, beard care stuff. I'm going to be getting some of the beard care product. I don't know if you see this is kind of trimmed down. Starting to get some of the beard oil into it so I can start to show that, you can actually tame the wild mane. And he makes, everything is made very, very well. And Sean is an amazing person. So it's an easy partnership for me to be able to form. It was my idea. And we will be supporting what he does with, not just by using his products, but by encouraging everybody to check out his website. He does have soaps for men and for women, from non-scented to a variety of different smells that are absolutely great. If you go to gunslingersoap.com, you sign up for the newsletter using your email. He doesn't send out a lot of stuff. He honestly doesn't. I've only seen a few myself, but I admittedly don't check my email that often. One of the things that you will get, though, is a 15% off coupon. And then if you spend at least $30, you get free shipping. So stock up, because soap doesn't go bad. So just stock up, save some time. But for those of you that have taken time to watch today, I hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day weekend. You take time to reflect on what is important, and what this weekend is actually about in the United States, as we remember those that have sacrificed for our freedom. And take some time with your family or those people that are close to you, that are your chosen family, and appreciate what we've got, because there's a lot of things that need to get better, but it could be a hell of a lot worse. If you're a basketball fan or just a good sports fan, Game 7 tonight, Celtics and Heat, it's in Miami. It's going to be a great game. I have no doubt. Definitely check that out. I know that there is some baseball going on right now on ESPN. I believe it's Rangers and the A's or somebody, that doesn't matter. So lots to going on this weekend. Definitely enjoy your time. If you're getting a 3-day weekend and you're off tomorrow, enjoy that day off. I appreciate those of you that came in to check me out today. If you want to watch me talk more baseball, I will be live tomorrow night, 10 Eastern, on the Sports Report, diving into more baseball-related stuff. And then also tomorrow night at 11:30 Eastern-ish We're doing the Sports Report After Dark with my buddy Dan the Dick Warner, just diving into that intersection where sports and humanity meet. Talking about how athletes are people too, and Skip Bayless is definitely one of the lizard people. For my absent co-hosts this week, the amazing Stephen Weaver and the fabulous Craig Newton, who I hope gets better soon. Thank you all for checking me out and stopping in today. Have a great weekend.